Hello, everybody, and welcome to Whisper2Scream, Black History Month edition. First, a reminder that Black History Month was created to showcase the accomplishments of Black folks in America, our accomplishments in current days, and some references to our past innovators and leaders, and that's male and female. Now, remember, our history did not begin in America, and we were present long before the history that began in the caves of Europe. I'd like to celebrate a few innovators. Going to start off with Dr. Charles Drew. He grew up in Washington, D.C. After he became a doctor, he went to Columbia University to do his PhD on blood storage. He invented a method of separating and storing plasma and allowing it to be dehydrated for later use. He was the first Black American to be awarded a doctorate from Columbia University. He went on to helm the American Red Cross Blood Bank, and he resigned when the armed forces ordered that only Caucasian blood be administered to soldiers. What he invented back in the 1950s has saved millions of people who would have lost their lives without the blood plasma treatment. Ironically, he died in an automobile accident, and it has long been said he was refused service at a white-only hospital and died on the way to a Negro hospital. Now, we want to celebrate Guion Bluford Jr., the first Black male astronaut, and Mae Jemison, the first Black female astronaut, both to travel in space. Mr. Bluford navigated in 1983, and Ms. Jemison navigated in 1992. Both have received numerous honorary doctorates and countless awards. James E. West, not to be confused with the television character from that show, he invented the first electret microphone. It's the same microphone used today in cell phones, cameras, and digital recorders around the world. In 2010, he won the Benjamin Franklin Medal in Electrical Engineering from Franklin Institute. And there's Tarana Burke. 10 years ago, she started the Me Too movement that we see being carried out today by women and men of all colors. She started it when Black women who were sexual assault victims were being underserved because rape crisis centers and caseworkers wouldn't travel to certain neighborhoods in metropolitan cities. So kudos and banners to her. Welcome to Whisper2Scream, our Black History, Valentine, and President's Day edition. My name is Bernard, and I am your host. Let's start with our updates on past stories because they don't usually end on just one page. In our previous broadcast, we talked about clean meat, or meat raised in a laboratory. We focused on a chicken laboratory in Israel. These products have virtually no flaws, no antibiotics, and animals no longer have to be slaughtered to reach our dinner tables. Well, we have a company here in America, in San Francisco, named Memphis Meats, which is already producing and distributing clean meat. Take a look.
Here from San Francisco. 1 year after making history with the world's first clean meatball, we are at it again. I'm proud to unveil the world's first ever poultry products that were grown from animal cells without the full animal. Today, we're unveiling two types of meat, chicken and duck. The world loves chicken. It's by far the most popular meat in America and soon to be across the world. So we're excited to introduce Memphis Meat Chicken to the world. We've also made clean duck meat produced without the duck. With demand for meat growing so quickly, there are not enough resources to feed the planet. We need to completely change the way meat gets to the plate. We invited a taster to have the first bite.
Tastes like chicken. Yes, this is some of the best fried chicken I've had.
We believe this to be one of the biggest technological leaps for humanity. Our goal is to make delicious, clean meat that is better for you the environment, and the animals. And most importantly, better for your favorite recipes. Today, we've taken a historic step towards this goal of a better meat and a better world.
So start licking your lips and clicking your tongues because clean meat is here, and I think it's here to stay. If you want to know more about this story, search our last broadcast and leave a comment below. Let me know if you're going to eat the new clean meat, and do you think it's going to be better for us in the long run? Another story we brought you concerned a 911 call center operator who was fired because she experienced heavy menstrual periods that resulted in her clothes and the flooring in the office to become soiled. Apparently, this is a premenopausal condition. Well, the district court in Georgia dismissed the case, stating that Title VII of the Civil Rights Act does not protect premenopause and the associated sudden onset of heavy menstruation. It's not funny, but I'm just so surprised that they would come up with that. Anyway, I looked up Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, and what it does is that it prohibits workplace discrimination on the basis of sex, including pregnancy, childbirth, and related medical conditions. Well, like me, the ACLU disagrees with that court and has taken up the mantle of this battle. The ACLU has submitted a brief arguing that the district court, which dismissed the case, erred in their ruling. If you want to know more about this case, check out Whisper2Scream previous broadcast entitled Summer Madness. A lot more information too in that episode. In our last broadcast, I also said we would discuss law enforcement. Well, that turns out to be a much broader subject than we realized. So I searched the definition of law enforcement, and it is any system by which some members of society act in an organized manner to enforce the law by discovering, deterring, rehabilitating, or punishing people who violate the rules and norms governing that society. Now, most of us are aware that usually the police are the first line of interaction under the judicial branch of our government. When we are in trouble, we call them for help. We want them to honor their oath to serve and protect us. And if we should find ourselves or someone we know being interrogated or even arrested, we want to be apprehended in the manner in which we perform. For example, if I'm shooting at the police, they need to shoot back at me. But if my hands are in the air in a surrender signal and I'm not displaying signs of aggression or being threatening, why must we become a victim of torture or even death? Now, there are policemen who risk their lives to save others, who feed homeless persons, or rescues victims from a dangerous scene. Most have families, meaning spouses, children, siblings, parents, or a pet. And just like other citizens, they want to come home to nurture their families. Now, we are all people with the same basic desires. But something happens during the course of everyday living that causes us to ask, how does this affect me? So what makes some police become dangerous rogues, killing citizens like they are animals for sport? And what makes some citizens become dangerous rogues to do similar kinds of acts? Well, we sure don't have all the answers, but we have to continue dialogue on this issue. We can't cover it all, but we do want to discuss subjects like, do some police come to the table with racial or gender prejudice? Do we need to vet our police force more deeply? Should police be drug tested, especially after a questionable violent encounter? Should we explore more ways to increase salaries to get a better police force? Because the pay doesn't reflect the responsibility of the job. Should police live in the neighborhoods they serve? Also, should we sympathize with defendants because they are poor, underserved, or come from broken homes and are victims of neglect? Should citizens take a more active position in governing their own neighborhoods and create liaisons with the police? Lots of questions. And we will tackle some of these issues, so please keep checking us out and let's talk about this. And look for Coon Tunes Productions, our man on the street interviews about this subject and other subjects. We want to send our heart-wrenched condolences to the families of the 17 innocent children and school teachers murdered in Florida a few days ago. Now, here's a picture of the domestic terrorist, because that is exactly what he is. His name is Nicholas Cruz. Take a look at him, because he is responsible for the 18th mass school shooting incident in our first 45 days of this year. Now, there have been 25 fatal shootings at schools since Columbine in 1999. And check this, over 200 domestic terrorist acts since 2013. And it's escalating. Now, if these were Muslims or Mexicans or blacks committing these crimes, there would be all kinds of money and programs designed to curtail these atrocities. But since they are white people doing these heinous acts by and large, we're supposed to pray and hope things will get better. Our government leaders want us to ponder, is it the firearm or the person who's responsible for these acts? This story will be in the news for the next few weeks before it slips to the back pages of our newspapers, or we stop paying attention because some gossip or TV show is more relevant and we won't think about it until the next domestic terrorist act. That is, unless you follow a program like this one, because we will explore this story in future broadcasts. What is alarming is this. Just one day before the tragedy, another student in the state of Washington was planning another terroristic act on a school. He didn't get to perform his atrocity because his grandmother called the police and had him arrested. Check out this clip.
The teen's grandmother called police yesterday morning after finding a semi-automatic rifle in a guitar case and detailed plans in his journal to shoot people at Aces High School. In one entry, police say the teen wrote, quote, "I'm preparing myself for this school shooting. I can't wait. My aim has gotten much more accurate. I can't wait to walk into that class and blow them away." In another entry, the teen added, quote, "I need to get the biggest fatality number I possibly can. I need to make this count." Documents state the teen used a coin flip to pick his high school as an intended target over another school.
We don't know at this point in time what the end result may have been or may not have been, but I think that the steps that were taken were the appropriate steps.
Documents state the teen's grandmother told police he recently bought grenades and wrote about making bombs. But in court, an attorney representing the teen argued there's no evidence to suggest the weapons were acquired illegally.
There is insufficient evidence at this point that intended to carry out what can be just best described as musings or ventings in his journal.
Prosecutors say the teen admitted in that journal that he robbed this convenience store along Casino Road on Monday night using a mask and jacket that were found inside his grandmother's home. Court documents state the teen admitted to the robbery in a journal entry and talked about how powerful he felt and how scared the cashier was when he pointed his gun at her.
Okay, and now this. 2 teens were arrested for having loaded guns, including 3 assault rifles and drugs at a high school basketball game in Wisconsin. Willard Hartman and Benjamin Crone, both 19, are facing charges of possessing firearms on school grounds, for carrying concealed weapons and possession of drugs and related paraphernalia after being pulled over by the police for making an illegal turn outside Homestead High School in Mequon, Wisconsin. Now, what is going on in this country? Some, like Mr. Cruz in Broward County in Florida, have joined or associated themselves with white nationalist groups. Now, a white nationalist leader volunteered this information. That's why I heard about it. Now, is our nation becoming unglued while we keep asking ourselves, how does this affect me? Okay, we have come to the AI segment of our program, meaning artificial intelligence. For all you aspiring coal miners, you better get a grip. I'm just being real. Get ready for more artificial intelligence in the workplace. They're not going to go away. I suggest We research where a human being might fit into the future workplace. Now here's a video previewing what's on the horizon for industry. Check it out.
It's frustrating sometimes to hear this rhetoric about bringing jobs back to the United States that left. Those jobs are actually still here in the United States, but they're being done by robots, not humans.
Here in San Francisco, manufacturing software specialist Autodesk is cooking up something that may completely shake up how humans and robots get along in the workplace.
One of the things we have in the lab are a number of industrial robots. They're accurate, powerful, relatively inexpensive, ubiquitously available.
As impressive as these mechanical beasts are, they also have some serious limitations.
They are actually blind. They have no perception of the space that they're in. They can easily do serious harm to a human.
And that's where this new software comes in. By giving factory robots the gift of sight and touch, they can work side by side with people.
Basically just be more functional in the human world, which is chaotic and random and full of mistakes and errors. It's almost like an evolutionary step.
The new software instructs the robot to build a metal design with a blowtorch. Then, it teaches the robot to use a camera and 3D scanner attached to its arm to check its work against the plans.
We're using the camera to do computer vision. It's watching what the welder's doing. The laser scanner comes in and feeds that back into the system.
So when it's layering on metal, the camera and the 3D sensor are then seeing how accurately it has done so. Then it adjusts it slightly so that there's a slight wobble.
Yep, they can go back and go, oh, let me reprogram myself in real time and adjust for whatever the mistake is in order to correct it. As we're teaching the robot to pay attention to what it's doing and do a better job based on what it's seeing, you can apply that to almost any automated process.
While they're not completely taking over yet, what is clear is that our new robot co-workers are here to stay. So, we'd better try to get along.
I wouldn't annoy it, otherwise it'll crush you into a pulp.
This is duly noted.
I'll say it again. AI is for real. It's already happening. As you know, we always have a good news story, and here it is. Well, these women, two sisters, Sandra Giles Macbeth and Dorothy Giles Ungongang, 2 of 10 children, grew up as sharecroppers in South Carolina. Their parents, like many black folks in the South with little or no education, lived in small huts with no indoor plumbing. They slept on potato sacks filled with hay. This was on farms owned by white people who paid them a little cash and a hut for picking cotton. Her father thought that hard, honest work in the cotton fields would one day bring them to economic stability. He supported a wife and 10 children on an average $500 a year. I'll repeat that, an average $500 a year. And that was during the good years. Some years they had to survive on as little as $100 in income for the whole year. Needless to say, not having an education left him victim to credit schemes. Store owners would not hand him receipts. So at the end of the season, when he went to pay his bill, he had to accept whatever the store owner said he owed. The sisters grew up mostly uneducated. They could only go to school on rainy days when it was too wet to pick cotton. Eventually, their mother persuaded their father to make education a priority, and most of the 10 children got a high school diploma. Some went on to matriculate college degrees and even doctorates. When the sisters were kids, they used to marvel at the big white house the white owners lived in. The daughters of the white owner used to play with them when they were growing up, and racial barriers were never exhibited among the kids. Well, to make a long story short, these sisters decided to buy that White House and refurbish it. While they don't live in it themselves, it is used as a central gathering place for their families, for their siblings and their children and their grandchildren, etc. Now, the sisters realize the big White House is not really that big, but it sure seemed like a mansion when they were children. These sisters are in their 70s now, so they are the same age as Diana Ross, Cher, and they're younger than Jane Fonda. But that's only to say that this is how they grew up during times that we imagined that we were all much more affluent. And apparently that wasn't the case. That wasn't that long ago. So congratulations to these two sisters and their families who managed to scale many obstacles and go on to enjoy productive lives. So this brings us to the end of another broadcast. We are aiming to reach 50 subscribers. You can help by telling your friends about us and let them know this is a site, a place they can come to and let folks know that you are aware of what's going on in this world, that you are woke. Now, you can reach us on Instagram and Facebook at CoonTunes2, and follow us on Twitter at CoonTunes2. If you follow us, we will follow you. Thank you for checking us out. Please click the like button, and even better, subscribe. Stay woke and be blessed.